Hello, everyone. It's Jennifer Williams, podcast host of LUXE Life and realtor with Coldwell Banker Gold Coast, Coldwell Banker Global Luxury. Again, today I have a returning guest, Makeda Smith, and let her tell you all about what she's got going on in her life. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I am Makeda Smith. I am the CEO and founder of Savvy Chicks in Real Estate, licensed Illinois real estate broker with Smith and Partners Realty Group. I am also a global business coach. I help my clients who are women in real estate and also women entrepreneurs to go from making six figures to scaling their business to 1 million or more.
That is amazing. And so let's unpack this episode. We were talking about global real estate. We had so many things we covered before we started recording here. So let's just let it go. So
Okay.
global real estate.
So with global real estate, I have now began to post on my social media platforms, Savvy Chicks in Real Estate, and then my personal brand, Makeda Smith CEO, all about how billionaires have been able to take their business global. And let's take for an example, when you look at Uber, because I studied Uber, and Uber started in San Francisco, California. And it started out of a need and necessity to be able to get from one place to another place. And so that company that started in California, I can't remember what year it started, but in a short period of time, that company took off. And when you look at the company and you study Uber today, that company is worth billions of dollars. Not sure what a dollar point is at, but now when you look, that company, Uber, actually owns about 9 and 10 companies under the name Uber. And during the pandemic, one of the things that I learned, Jennifer, was that Uber actually launched another company that was a transportation company that was able to pick up medicine from the pharmacy to deliver to senior citizens, because during the pandemic, they were not able to get out and about. And so they see the need in the marketplace, just like our last guest, Erica, seen the need. They seen a need for that service. And so they launched that business. That business became profitable. People are even still using that service today. And when you think about Uber Eats, and my son gets it all the time, 5 to 6 times a week. And my husband had to say one day, he was like, why do you have people pulling up into our driveway almost every day as if we don't have food in this house? And so he's 23. So those are things that he could do. But my husband's like, it's an embarrassment to the neighborhood. And so Uber Eats still gets our money. So when you think about companies like Uber, Google, who I think owns like over 12, 15 different companies when you Google them, you have to think about your own real estate business. And I started thinking about, if billionaires are global, then why are we local when it comes to our real estate business? And so as I began to read book after book after book, and one of the books that I read that I reference all the time is Play Bigger. So the book Play Bigger is about being a category king. And I have dubbed the phrase category queen because we're women. And I'm like, well, how come it can't be called category queen? And basically what a category king is, someone who is in a business and then you see a niche that you can carve out for yourself to where you can control that particular lane. And so for me with Savvy Chicks in Real Estate, I seen where I was able to carve out my own lane, and it being a lane to where I show women in real estate how they can work together, how they can be a community rather than to be competitors with one another to grow their brand. And now looking from 2017 when we launched Savvy Chicks in Real Estate to 2022, I'm looking at how do we even take this global to where we're not just working with real estate agents that are inside of the US, but we're working with real estate agents all across the world. And what I'm telling agents today is that it's no longer about building a local real estate business. It's about building a global one.
It is because the market is global. We have people in and out of the country, first, second, third homes. And we need to know how to service them, whether it's on a referral basis, you get your license, whatever it is. Now, because you tell us about the DR. We know we touched on it a little bit last time, but you have another license, right?
Yeah. So license, yes. So what it has allowed me to do with licensing and by the conference, and then also with Savvy Chicks and Real Estate, I do consulting and coaching. So I was consulting with one of my clients, and she was telling me how, she's a real estate broker, a luxury real estate broker in California, but she also has a business in Georgia. And so when we were going over all the different ways that she's making money, not only did she have her own real estate business, her second income was a VA service that she created. And so the VA service is to help other real estate agents to hire people that are overseas to work in their business. And I was like, wow. So we going through, I'm helping her to like up these prices, to enhance packages and all of this stuff. And so then she tells me, oh, and I'm licensed in the DR. I said, what? And she was like, I'm licensed in DR, in Dominican Republic. And I said, how is this possible? And so she began to send me the information, and really it was just a fee and me filling out a form and then choosing the office that I wanted to join, paying that fee, and getting my certificate. And so that's how I became licensed in the DR. And I did that in, I think, September of 2022. I haven't made the announcement public, so when this airs, it will be public. But it's something that I want to take advantage of, not just in a DR, because when you make, somebody said this yesterday, when you make 2,500 a week, it's like, okay, I made 2,500 a week. How can I make 5,000 a week? When you make 5,000, now you're trying to make 10. So when you get licensed, sometimes in a particular state, you look and see what other state has reciprocity to where you can get licensed in another state. But now I'm looking at, okay, I'm licensed in DR. What other country can I be licensed in? So now I'm like, and then also what makes sense? Because a lot of people are going to look and say, okay, but does it make sense for you to be licensed here in this country? You have to pick, just like the states, you have to pick what country is going to be strategic for you to be licensed in and what makes sense for your book of business. And so for me, DR made sense because you can get beachfront properties in DR for less than 60K. You can get property in DR for less than 75K, depending on what area is in. I also learned, Jennifer, is that you don't have to have a loan like you have here in the States, to where you can actually be on a payment plan in order to be able to buy property over here in this other country. Now, here's what's going to make your mouth drop even more, Jennifer, is that I learned that you don't get paid on the property actually closing in the DR. You get, especially when you're working with new construction that's being built over there, the builders will pay you once it goes under contract.
What?
Yes, not when it closed, when it goes under contract. And I'm like, well, what happens when it goes back on the market? And it was like nothing. They put it back on the market and they look for, the next deal. But your commission is your commission. And just when we talked about licensing and bothering, and how our licensing and bother is not just a motivational conference to get you hyped and then there's no work behind it. A lot of our agents leave and they go and do the work. So when I mentioned Punta Cana and when I mentioned getting licensed in the DR, I told them, don't wait until the next conference to get licensed. If you can get licensed now to be a year in advance of the conference, go ahead and get licensed now. So one of our agents, Kim McBride, and I think she would make a great guest as well. She went and got her license in the DR. Do you know that girl that sold over 8 properties already in like 6 months? And I was like, yes, in 6 months. And what she did was she had webinars to explain how to invest in a DR. She made the announcement and then she started educating people on how to invest and how to buy maybe their vacation home, their second home, how to get short-term rentals over there, long-term rentals. And so it took off. and it paid off for her. So not only is she a top producer in Maryland in the States, she's also becoming a top producer over in the DR because she hit the ground running from the very conference we just had in June. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what? And who wouldn't want to get into that?
Right. And so this is why, Jennifer, too, that I wanted to talk about what agents right now should be doing in their business to prepare for the next year. So as we talk about increased interest rates, as we talk about inflation, like how are you going to set your business apart? How are you going to stand out from the next agent? And so now, if you are an international real estate agent and not just local to your own area, that looks more attractive to the buyer and the seller and investor that wants to work with you, because now you're able to offer your clients different options. So when I roll out that I'm licensed in a DR, I'm going to be talking to my fellow entrepreneurs about, okay, now you can get short-term rental properties over here, get a property manager to manage the properties over in the DR, but don't miss out on the money because you're afraid to invest. We have to now, when we look at billionaires push outside of their comfort zone. They surround themselves with other people that's going to push them based on I feel like there is nothing that is impossible for us to do. There
That's
is
true.
nothing
Yep.
that
You're
is
right.
off limits for us to be able to do if we put our minds to it. And so now, me building this business inside of the States and outside of the States, there's nothing that no one can tell me that I can't do, because I feel like I'm constantly pushing the limits. This weekend, tomorrow, actually, I'm going to be celebrating being on my first magazine cover. And so it happened because I coached someone 2 years ago who was in the beauty business in California. I hadn't talked to this person in 2 years now. And she called me and she was like, I have an opportunity for you. Let me know if you're interested. And she was like, there's a magazine in Indiana. It's a Black-owned magazine. And she said that we're looking for someone. She said, I didn't want a celebrity on the cover. She said, I wanted somebody that regular, everyday people can identify with, that built their business from the ground up. And she was like, I thought about you. I was like, say less. The answer is yes. I'm honored. When is the photo shoot?
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. So we actually going to have the cover reveal tomorrow. I rented out a Pure Space. They're blowing up the magazine or whatever and covering up. We're going to reveal it tomorrow. But guess what, Jennifer? That's ahead of me and my husband going to Bali next Tuesday. We're going to be leaving to go 6 nights and 7 days to Bali. And you know, when I'm there in Bali, I'm going to be looking at real estate, right?
Yes, you are. Because I mean, that's what we enjoy. That's what we do. But it's just a part to everything we.
Yep.
Congratulations. That is good for you.
Thank you. And I feel like for a lot of us in real estate, 2022 to me, even though it had its successes, it still had a lot of like heartaches, a lot of rough patches. I felt like that I was fighting and getting through, and even helping the clients to get through and giving them encouraging words to even keep going. A lot of people had a lot of deals that fell apart. When the interest rate hits and people were no longer to afford the homes that they were actually purchasing. And that's what feel like I had to come in fighting my own battles, but help them to be able to think outside of the box, to where we have people now. You had this episode a couple of weeks ago with the house hacking. Like, how can I help my clients now? So if they're house hacking, can you go in with one of your family members or go in with a loved one to purchase a property, and maybe y'all buy a 4-unit, and then you're living in one of the units or 2 of the units or whatever, and then you're renting the other ones out. But now it's going to be able to help either pay the mortgage in full or pay up a part of that, so that it makes it affordable to be able to buy those properties. And so there are actually agents that are listing properties, but they're having their sellers to do an incentive to help buy down the rate for the buyer coming in, so that helps. So what are the agents doing in order to be able to weather this market?
Yeah, and it is, and that's a lot of it is you have to have an agent that knows,
Yes.
that is entrenched and that knows, and that or has somebody who they can contact that does know,
And what I
and we're
told the agents, Jennifer, the other day when I was doing a training, I said, you are no longer a licensed real estate, just a licensed real estate agent. You are a real estate strategist.
Mhm.
At this time, you have to
Yep,
have strategy to help your clients to buy and sell in this marketplace. The regular basic stuff that we used to do back in the day, that
it
is
doesn't
not
work. No.
what works today.
Mm-mm. No, yesterday's market is not today's market, won't be tomorrow's market. You're 100% correct. I mean, we have to strategize for our clients because sometimes they're going through death or divorce or,
Yeah.
having a child or getting married, or you have no idea, but none of it's easy.
No.
And real estate's not easy, but you have to be a strategist and a counselor at times. But
Mhm.
you have to know about these different programs and be educated and make sure you are you're on your game
Yeah.
all the time, which is
And
fine.
you're,
I love it.
yeah, and you're like I talked about earlier, making sure that you stand out among your clients when it comes to what choices they have in the marketplace. We talk all the time about, okay, the market is saturated, I can't be successful in real estate. Those are the lies that we tell ourselves because we're
Yep.
not willing to do the work to be able to stand out in a saturated marketplace. And that's
We're
why
not
you
owning it.
have, yep, the top 1%. But there's no reason that you can't be up there as well. It's only going to be the people that are willing to do the work, to think
Right.
outside of the box. And people ask me, like, how did you build success over time across multiple businesses? And it's because that once I became successful in one area, let's say for an example, when I first got Freddie Mac to be one of my REO clients back in 08, I was like, okay, I got Freddie Mac. Now, how can I get Fannie Mae? I got Fannie Mae. How can I get Bank of America? I got Bank of America. How can I get Chase? So just that one door opening, now you start looking at what are some of the other doors and possibilities that can open for me as well on the other side. And
Yeah,
that's what I want to push to the agents, to be pushing to their clients, to let them know what are the opportunities that are in this market, and international should be one of them.
I agree. I think we need to expand our everybody is buying and selling in other communities. We post about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening in other countries.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm here in Chicago, and I'll post about a property. People will bring me properties all the time. Will you promote this? Will you push this out to your people? We were talking about the one that was just in SoCal,
Yeah.
as well. There's a few others that are coming down the pipeline too that we'll be putting out there. But the market's always moving.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to catch whichever wave it is that's going.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's
we're
why, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was
I'm
just gonna say, when you mentioned that the market is always moving and we just have to catch whatever way it's moving. When I got started in REOs, that I first was presented with a BPO, and I was like, "What is a BPO?" And so
Yeah,
when
I remember those.
Countrywide, when Countrywide was like, "We're paying agents to do BPOs," and I was like, "Oh, they paying $50. Let me look this up." Like, so I Googled it, and then
Yep.
I said yes. I didn't know what I was saying yes to. But once I completed my first BPO, after researching and seeing that it was like a CMA, I did the second one and the third one. You know what happened? I got that check and I was saying, oh, wait a minute. Is there more Countrywides out there? Is there more companies to sign up with? So then, the wheels start spinning. How
Yeah.
can I do more of this? And so success really is when they say, it's like being consistent at the one thing, and so that it accumulates to a whole bunch. So when you're successful at that one thing and you see that it actually works, it wasn't a fluke. When I created my first course for real estate agents and I seen that they were buying it, but it was out of necessity that I had to pay for my son's college tuition, that I created that course. But when people actually became customers, I was like, oh, was this a mistake? Let me see how I can create another course and then another course. And so that's what's happening. We have to learn how to multiply what it is that God gives us as gifts and talents in our business.
Yeah, and we have to find, sometimes we have to figure out and find it. And, it's not always clear to us. We had that conversation in between, off cameras before we started to record this one about, he's got the plan.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to open our eyes to it and have that, take that leap of faith.
And you know what happens when you take that leap of faith? Other people will meet you on the faith journey.
Yes.
So like for you, it was when I had my assistant to reach out to you to ask about being on the podcast. And then you were like, well, let's meet first. Didn't know if we were going to hit it off, but it turned out just fine. And so now we're on the actual podcast live to your entire audience, which can be heard around the world. And it was that one connection, that one faith walk that led us to where we are today. And I think it's only been a week.
It has. And I feel like our first phone call, because we do pre-interview phone calls and we have people that come to us and say, oh, can we be on your podcast? Well, because we don't have scripts. This is natural conversation. This is us having sitting down and having a natural conversation. And, there have been, we interview different people, and if we don't click and don't have that chemistry, it doesn't work with this kind of setup. And I think we were on a call on our Zoom for probably at least an hour, and could have gone longer. And here we are, and we just met.
Right.
And I love it. I think it's the best. This is the best way to do this. We'd also talked about, a couple of other people that are going to be guest speakers coming up for you. So, and it's your event. So if you want to touch on those as well, like your events that are coming up and the speakers.
Yeah. So with the conference that we have coming up for this particular episode, we have the conference Licensed and Unbothered, which has been 4 conferences so far. We have our 5th anniversary conference that will be in Punta Cana in DR. So you see how it made sense for me to go and get my license over there, and other agents as well. So we're going to have workshops to tell you about how to get licensed over there for the agents that are coming. One thing I also want to say too, Jennifer, is that because we built this conference up, yes, it started as real estate agents coming, but then we have accountants in the audience now. We have lawyers that come in the audience. We have people that are career-based women that come to be a part of this conference, because even if they're in these other areas, they still want to invest in real estate. They want to write a book. They want to learn how they can purchase in the stock market, because we have guests for that as well. They want to learn how they can build their brand, and not just a real estate brand, but how can I build a brand? And so now we have someone that was teaching the agents how to build a profitable real estate brand. But now I was like, can you teach them how to build a global brand? Because now we're going global. Yeah. And one of our speakers that will be at the conference next year, her name is another person you should have on a podcast. Her name is Denise. She's Denise the Broker on Instagram. And she actually has a large brokerage in Atlanta, Georgia. She has over 140 agents under her belt. She recently became licensed and opened up her own real estate brokerage in Dubai. She became the first Black woman to open up her real estate brokerage in Dubai. And I was like, OMG. And she announced it at our conference. And it was just, it was standing room.
Oh my gosh.
Because
amazing. Good for her.
She was actually on stage crying, pouring. She presented her mom with flowers for pouring into her life, and for her to be, she's over there right now with her family, enrolled her son in school. But remember, just like the other agent that I was telling you about, she has a team of people to run her business in Georgia. So when you build, ladies and gentlemen, your real estate businesses and any business, once you put a team in place that it can duplicate the workflows, processes, and systems for your clients, and provide the same customer care, now you can go and build in other places. And so now she's in Dubai. And so I want to let people know that with our conference, those are the people that I have in the room that are not going to talk about what you can do. They're going to talk about what they're doing and what you can do too. And that's the type of conference that we have every single
Unbelievable.
year. But Punta Cana is special because it's our 50th.
There we go.
Oh, okay. What did
It
I
did.
blank
It
out?
flipped out and it cut out and it came right back in. So go ahead. And we were talking about Punta Cana and the people that were there.
Okay, so I don't know what part I left off, but I was saying that people like Denise the broker who opened up her brokerage in Dubai, those are the type of speakers that we have in the room. People that actually own a hotel. These are not people that we invite to the conference that tell you what to do, but they tell you what they've been able to accomplish and how you can accomplish it as well. And so we have people that invest in the stock market and even in real estate trust funds so that you can learn how you can invest in them as well, not because they're going to tell you what they do for their clients, but also what they do for themselves. And those are the people that we have in the room. And I don't know, another thing is that I have my attorney client / friend, I call her, but she is the biz lawyer on Instagram. One of the things that I see with realtors today when they're creating multiple streams of income, they'll have the word realtor, which is a trademark word, and they'll put it on a t-shirt. They'll put Gucci realtor or seven-figure realtor on a t-shirt when you cannot profit and make money off of the name realtor because it's a trademark brand. So we actually show the ladies how to trademark their own business. When I looked up years ago, real estate matchmaker, that's a trademark brand. And I didn't know somebody had it trademarked. So while all the realtors are using this word, you're really not supposed to use it on your social media posting because it's somebody else's trademark. We have found that there are real estate companies out here that have been started, real estate team names that have been started, but you actually don't own that name until it's actually trademarked. And some people have their stuff trademarked on the state level, but you need to have it trademarked on a federal level. So these are the conversations and workshops that we're going to be having in Punta Cana that is next level. I don't want to talk when it comes to Licensed and Bothered and Savvy Chicks in Real Estate about what everybody else is talking about. I want to look in the marketplace and see what's not being discussed. And those are the things that we're discussing at our conferences.
You're right. I absolutely love it because so how many times do we go to conferences or we go to events or we go to whatever it is that we go to, and it's the same thing. It's the same content. The speaker, the person themselves may be different, but the content is the same.
Yeah.
In yours, the trademarking, I knew about realtor, but I never really thought about that.
Yep.
From a real estate standpoint.
Yeah, because I was looking up, because there's another one. A lot of agents use the word homegirl. And I was like, do they know that that's somebody else's trademark? Like these names are already trademarked. There are clients that I have referred that are real estate, they own their own real estate brokers that I referred to this particular attorney, and they will come back and say, Makeda, my name is taken. And they built the whole business around it. And I was like, you have to change the name. But this is the things
better now than later.
Right. But this are the things that we want to warn people about before they sink 50K, 20K, 40K into building a brand, hanging a sign, and then the name doesn't belong to you.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
I guess.
I would be livid.
Right.
I would be livid.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed that your trade Savvy Chicks is trademarked.
It's trademarked. It's because I learned my lesson. Because remember, I told you that I started Savvy Chicks in Real Estate as a marketing agency. And so she was my first client. So she was actually the person who sought me out, who, even though it said Savvy Chicks in Real Estate, she wasn't a realtor, she's an attorney. But she was like, who does your brand? Like, it looks so good that I
It's
need somebody.
amazing.
Thank you.
I was pouring over love your website and the clothes. Oh my gosh, there's an outfit on there that I've got to figure out how I'm going to find it because
I'm
it
gonna
is,
send it to you. I'm gonna send
you're
it to
gonna, I love this. I love it, love it, love it. But the,
Yeah, so she actually is the reason why I started the marketing agency, and she referred me to so many people because they noticed the difference with her brand. And so when we started working with her as a real estate agent, like I'm learning the ropes myself. Even though she was a lawyer, when I started doing her page, she had like 1,700 followers. Today she has 120. I just ended my team relationship with her because I went from being her social media manager to being her director of marketing to being her chief marketing officer this year. And I was like, you know what? I said, and she's a dear friend now. I said, Rosina, I'm not going to be able to service your business, your multi-million-dollar business, like I need to as your CMO. So I'm going to have to step down from this position so that you can hire someone else and I can go and fully run and operate my business. And she was like, I totally respect that because I see you as my peer in business. And so she went from being a six-figure earner in her law firm to being a multi-million-dollar earner in her law firm over a short period of time. And these are the people that I have as speakers at the conference, all women who have bootstrapped their business and built it from the ground up.
I love it. I love it. And I want to make sure that people understand that you built this from the ground up. This wasn't something that is multi-generational that was handed down to you. This wasn't something that you, you, this is you.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone out there that is, I can't do it. Oh, it's too much work. Oh, there's got to be a catch. Oh, it's that strength and that determination and taking a leap of faith.
Yeah, and I would tell, so for all the agents that are under the sound of my voice worldwide, I started in real estate in 2004 as a real estate agent. I started doing REOs in 2008. I fired my last REO client, I think, in 2017. By that time, I launched Savvy Chicks in Real Estate. I went on to create my membership program for real estate agents. I went on to create the License and Unbothered Conference, which is now 5 years down the line. This year we had 300. Next year is our 5th anniversary. I went from there to doing business coaching, to where that was 6 figures within itself, just the business coaching alone, to also being able to now start my speaking engagements and to launch this global business to where now I want to take this to multiple countries across this world because I feel like it's our playground. So, like a kid in a candy store, kid on the playground, the world, the globe is our playground. And it's no limits to what slides we can slide on, what swings we can swing in.
You are right.
There is no limit to it. And so now that I know that, when I went to Dubai this past October, it was my first time speaking internationally as who I am today. And so that was my first speaking engagement in October. It only took Dubai, that one speaking engagement, for me to say, okay, God, now I'm getting ready to really take off and do this thing worldwide. And so now to go from October to Dubai, now we're going to Bali. And then I want to go to Costa Rica. That's the third place I want to go to. I'm going to go to Dominican before we go over there because I've never been. So I need to lay my hands on it, put my foot on it, so that I can know what to expect when we go in June. But there's no limits to where we're going. And now what I'm doing is creating a list of all of the countries that I want to touch before it's over. And I didn't tell you, Jennifer, is that I was in a hospital last year. I did so well not being able to contract COVID, being careful. And last year I got COVID in
Oh,
July from going to a family funeral. And in July of last year, I contracted COVID, and it was right after the conference, a month after the conference. And I ended up being in the hospital for almost a month. I had to learn how to walk. I had to learn
oh
how.
my gosh.
Yes, I was in a wheelchair. I had to have
Oh,
help with showering. My husband had to come and bathe me, clean me, wipe my mouth. Like it was, I didn't know if I was going to make it to see 2023. So when
well, I'm
you,
glad you did.
thank you, me too. So when you are a
Oh,
person who almost didn't make it to see a new year, 2022 was set up so different for me that I fell right back into the grind in January when I got better. And so by the end of this year, I'm like, okay, God, I got it. I'm not supposed to continuously be in the grind. I've done that. So now
yeah,
that I've built my business, now I can go and take this thing worldwide. And so for anybody listening out here, I would say that tomorrow is not promised to you. That's what I had to learn. And that you don't know the opportunities that will not be available to you tomorrow that are available to you today. So take advantage of the opportunities and prepare for them so that when they present themselves, you can say yes and then do it afraid. And like a coach told me 6 years ago, that I will find my courage on the journey, say yes, and you'll find your courage the more that you do it.
it is. The more I agree, the more that you do something, even if it at first it feels uncomfortable, but you just have this sense. I mean, I watched LUXE Life, and we launched a podcast, never done it before. And I sat here for, I think it was 2 hours before I actually spoke.
Wow.
Because I did my own, at first I wanted to do it like my own, and I just couldn't, I don't know, what was I afraid of?
It was
And
doing something new. Like you were
it
doing
was
something new.
it was doing something new, and then I'm putting a video and all this stuff on the world, on the internet, and it's going worldwide, and the videos forever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I, and I do, there's mistakes I make, but it's also about the authenticity of the message. And we're having a genuine, authentic conversation, and to me, if I can't do it that way, I don't want to do it. And now, yeah, there's a lot of passion to it, a lot of passion behind it. And when you start to find your calling or find what you want to do, maybe it doesn't show up. I never in a million years thought I'd be doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and you get into it and you want more, and then you want more, and you want more, and
Yeah.
you want more, and you keep building, you keep building, keep going. And then I have amazing guests. I've learned so much in our conversation. What we just, like, we've been talking for a week now,
Yeah.
and here we are, and I've learned so much, and that's what this is all about, learning and spreading the word, spreading our knowledge. I'd love to get out and get involved. That's why I'm in so many committees and volunteer in so many different things, because it helps me too,
And I'm
helping
thinking
others.
about how your future generation is going to be able to come on to the worldwide internet, be able to listen to their great, great, great grandmother, and like her personality, see you laughing, smiling, and be able to get to know you to where our generation, like our great, great, greats, we don't have that. Like we may
Yep.
have like an old picture or no
Yep.
pictures. But now that we have this internet, like they're going to be able to see a lot of stuff about us on this worldwide.
Yes, they are. They're going to be able to understand, learn, like how we interact with each other, what we thought of our business, what was our time, our personality, how where we were at spiritually as well, and get an idea of a personality. I was adopted at birth, so we had this whole journey. We've had this entire journey
Mhm.
of DNA testing and 23andMe and Ancestry, and then putting together like where we're from,
Wow.
and let me tell you, it's been a journey.
Did you do
And
an episode about that?
I have not.
That would be
I
a
have
great.
you. I should, because it's been unbelievable, the things that we've learned.
Okay.
And it's good. It took me probably too long to actually find out,
Okay.
but I'm glad. um I'm glad I did. And I think actually it was the right time, when to find out what actually makes up me. And then we start to realize like where my attitude comes from, where my personality comes from, where everything comes from. So it makes a lot of sense. So I should do an episode about it at some point.
Okay.
But
I think
that'd be great. Let's do that. I think what we're going to do is we'll wrap up on this one here and then stick around because there's so much more that I want to talk to you about. So this is Jennifer Williams, podcast host of LUXE Life, and I have had the fantastic pleasure. You know what, before we close up, contact information, how to get a hold of you, Savvy Chicks website, you name it. Deliver it.
so savvychicksandrealestate.com. If you are a woman in real estate, you can join us at savvychicksandrealestate.co. We have a free community. We also have a community if you just need social media templates. It's like $10 a month. And then we have our mentorship program. If you want to be a part of our global mansion mentorship program, that is available to you as well. And if you want to connect with me online, Savvy Chicks and Real Estate, that is our IG page. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook. And also you can find me as the CEO and founder, Makeda Smith, CEO, across all platforms.
Wonderful. 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 Thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode. And I'm pretty sure you'll be hearing Makeda quite a bit more. Jennifer Williams, podcast host of LUXE Life, realtor with Coldwell Banker Global Luxury, 708-710-9266 in the beautiful city of Chicago and beyond. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.